Well, thank you for coming. I know you're all as tired of seeing me at the podium here as I am at being here, because it usually means something bad has happened. But this is a good thing that has happened in light of a terrible thing, and that's the community coming together to express their shared commitment to standing firmly together against hate, however it rears its ugly head. Before I get into that, I know a lot of folks in the media are seeking videos or pictures or things from the case. The case is still active, and so the video that was released without permission of the lead investigative bodies, and it's kind of put the community, I think, in a bad spot, frankly. I mean, imagine, if you will, if this was your home and somebody had broke into your home looking to kill your kid, and you saw a video on the news about it, how traumatized, re-traumatized you would be from that event. So a bit soon for that to be out there, and we'd encourage other folks to take a breath and balance their need to share video with how it impacts the victims and the investigation. I know that the temple put out some pictures of their own under their control. That's their building without faces. That should be their process at the moment. If they want stuff, the evidentiary photos, the body cams and stuff, that ultimately will play out over time as it would in a traditional case. And so no more of that should be coming out in the immediate future until the FBI makes a formal determination of a number of things. As you know, and we talked about this before, the FBI and U.S. Attorney have different boxes they check as it relates to whether they call it a hate crime or terrorism based on certain things. I can call it terrorism as a person because it terrorized the people in the community. It terrorized the families and members of that temple. It terrorized the staff and people at large. You know, I saw the looks on their face. They were terrorized. I hugged moms and dads. They were terrified and terrorized. Legally, that definition will come from the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. So I just wanted to touch base on some of that, because we're still getting requests from some media for pictures or photos, and that's not going to be coming out until the FBI makes that final determination, and it will be out in due time. Second, kind of a reset. So it seems like, to me, that anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic behavior has become normalized. Not here, not with us, not with our team, and not with law enforcement in Oakland County, but across the country. It's been allowed, and that's unacceptable. You know, you see kids at colleges getting yelled at and bullied and even physically assaulted simply because they're Jewish. We as a community, we as a nation have to stand up. I don't care what party you're in. I don't care what job you're in, whether it's in public or private venue. We have to stand up and say, no, this is unacceptable. Because as this gets normalized, you'll see it play out in real world. The statistics are stark. Between 2020 and 2024, there was a 344% increase in targeted reported incidents against Jewish community and individuals. Now, again, any hateful act against any religion, any person, or any race is unacceptable and will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But we also know that of the reported incidents that were targeted based on religion, almost 70% of them were against Jewish people. And somehow that's become normalized. And 2025 and 26 now have even worse numbers. So we all need to stand up, again, public or private. If somebody in a private conversation says something anti-Semitic, you need to stop them, because that begins to play out and embolden people and make them feel comfortable to say and do stupid, hateful things. And sometimes then people are motivated to take that into action and do criminal, violent things. So, I was pushing the wrong thing. Thank you. Okay, I'll let you push it.
Just give me the time when you want.
Just the next slide. So I give you this by way of example. Some pond scum felt empowered and emboldened enough to put this picture of me up to try to threaten and intimidate me, which of course he didn't do because I signed up for this. And by the way, the person that did this said a bunch of terrible things, not just against me, but against a lot of groups and individuals, who, by the way, was arrested today in Wisconsin. My point is this, though. If this person is emboldened and empowered enough or feels safe enough to do this for me, what does he do to a kid? What does he do to a Jewish family walking down the street? And that's because of the normalization of this. Watching this on television and saying, okay, I feel empowered enough that I can do this. Well, A, you can't. And B, if you think you can do it to somebody that's in law enforcement, again, what are you going to do in an alley or in a street to a Jewish family or a kid walking down the street? We say no. We're drawing the line. One of the most chilling things that I saw many, many years ago is I saw a picture of police officers in Germany that were helping arrest Jews to send them off to their deaths. And that has stuck with me ever since. That was 20 years ago. And this picture shows a police officer that said no, and he was put to death. My point of showing this is normalization is like the frog in the pot story, where it starts off and the pot is sitting in the stove and it's cool, and you drop the frog in and you slowly turn up the heat, and all of a sudden the frog is boiled and didn't realize it happened. This heat has been slowly turning up, and the absolute vitriol against the Jewish community has been ramping up over time to the point where people look at this and say, oh, that will never happen here. They probably said that there. And we all collectively have to say no. And that's why I'm so proud and happy to have all the folks behind me from Interfaith, from a variety of faiths. Doesn't matter what faith you are, you're represented here. And again, all these faiths have been targeted by hateful people, but we're talking about what happened recently and the statistical percentage of targeted attacks against Jewish people. So where do we go from here? Excellent. As you saw earlier, House of Worship training, you can scan that QR code. We did that in December of last year. We're offering it again now. People can go and sign up, and we're going to provide that training at no cost based on the number. We're going to pick a venue that will accommodate that. Obviously, our first accommodation is going to be any facility inside of Oakland County, but we'd like to accommodate anybody that's interested in the region, so that will be based on the facility and the sign-up. The second thing we're going to continue to do is communicate and partner. Our partners, West Bloomfield, Chief Young and his team, and all of the agencies in Oakland County. You saw over 600 police officers come to that event. We're even getting complaints we sent too many people. Let me be clear. If we've got people in risk, we're sending whoever we need to send, and we're going to take care of the situation and the threat, period. And if you think we sent too many people, turn off the TV. We're going to send what we need to send to stop the threat, protect the people, and make sure the situation is made safe. We're going to continue to do that partnership. As I said, before this attack happened, we were texting and communicating, and we're going to continue to do that, prepare and communicate with our safety and security partners in the different facilities. As I said, on Tuesday, I had texted Danny at Temple Israel with some information, and we're going to continue to do that going forward, because you have to have that communication so you're all on the same page. So tragically, if something shows up at a door, we all know how to act. You saw that play out in real world. Not only did the safety and security team there act according to their role, the staff marshaled the kids and did their role, and then law enforcement hustled in to do their role, which was to stop the threat and evacuate the innocent. We're going to continue to do that. We also are going to make very clear we have zero tolerance for threats. After Oxford High School shooting, we got inundated with all sorts of threats, bomb threats, shooting threats. And we track them down. If you make a threat against a facility or institution, that is a crime, and we will find you. Zero tolerance. And the most important thing that I'm going to close with, if you see something, say something. Because the only way we get in front of these is someone tells us they saw or heard something. There's a thing we call leakage. There's usually some precursor that someone sees or heard. And it has to be shared robustly. And we have gotten in front of things in the past. We actually stopped a 6-year-old with a gun on the way to school after a parent told us that their little kid had heard about a threat. So we can get in front of these things if we share information. And we'd rather check out 100 nothings and miss one real deal. So that's going to be the watchword going forward as well. There'll be continued communication about the case specifically with us and Chief Young and the FBI. So that you'll get in the near future, as this continues to play out with the specific language and those kinds of things. At this point, there's nothing to lead us to believe there was anybody else involved or any secondary location. So we have no information that anything specifically is at risk or as a target, but we will continue, all of us, to collectively provide extra patrol and response to houses of worship across our region. With that, I will kick it over to anybody that would like to has a statement from the faith community or the temple, and then we'll take questions at the end.
Thank you to Sheriff Bouchard, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, all of our community partners and law enforcement. I am Rabbi Josh Bennett from Temple, Israel, and I'd like to offer a brief statement on behalf of our community. As you know, 1 week ago, our sacred home was attacked when a man drove his vehicle through the front doors with nearly 150 children, teachers, and staff inside. But thanks to the swift and courageous response of our staff, our security team, and law enforcement, no children or staff were harmed other than consequential injuries. And for that, we are profoundly grateful. But we cannot mistake this moment of survival for true safety, because what happened last week at Temple, Israel is not random, it was not spontaneous, and it did not occur in a vacuum. This was the product of hatred that, as the sheriff said, has been allowed to grow in classrooms, in public discourse, online, until it became violence. This is not a statistic. These are our children. This is our congregation. This is our community. So we stand here today with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office because the fight cannot be fought by the Jewish community alone. It is not only a Jewish problem. This is a problem for all of us in Oakland County. It is a problem for all Americans. And anti-Semitism is a warning sign, because when hatred of Jews is tolerated, all of our communities will eventually suffer. To our congregation at Temple Israel, we will return. We will not be defined by the violence done to us. Rather, we will be defined by the values we carry forward. We are grateful for this community, for our partners in law enforcement and in our community, for every voice that has spoken out, and we ask that those voices do not fall silent.
My name is Stephen Ingber. I'm the CEO of Jewish Federation of Detroit. I have two things to say. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you to all the law enforcement officers, too numerous to name, who are willing to give their lives for our children. And the other thing is, I want to say, we need your help. We can't continue at this pace. We can't continue having Jewish houses of worship desecrated. We can't continue to have the anti-Semitism rise at the level it's rising. And we, as Jews, as 2% of the population, can't stop it ourselves. We need each and every one of you to do your part. You all have a role in this. If you don't all stand up, this will only continue to get worse. Call out anti-Semitism where you see it, when you see it. There's no small joke. There's no small, oh, that was just something for one person. This is plain and clear hatred against Jews. It must stop. And you all must be a part of it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Mustafa al-Turk. I'm the Imam and President of the Islamic Organization of North America and also co-chair of the Imams Council of Michigan. On that devastating day when Temple of Israel was attacked, I got a call from one of our congregants early in the morning when that happened, and I immediately contacted my co-chair in the Imams Council and other imams to prepare a statement condemning such an act. I will share just one passage from that. Imams Council of Michigan condemns shooting at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield. Islam teaches that all places where God's name is remembered deserve protection. The Quran reminds us, had God not repelled some people by means of others, monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques where God's name is mentioned much would surely have been destroyed. Quran 22:40. Regardless of what happened, we stand, the Imams Council of Michigan, in full solidarity with all people impacted by the event, today's event then. In times like these, our shared commitment to peace, compassion, and mutual protection must prevail over hatred and violence. And my statement today on this occasion, first and foremost, we thank Sheriff Bouchard and his team for protecting our communities and to continue doing what is necessary to keep us safe. In today's political climate, we are witnessing a disturbing surge in hate speech and hate crimes around the world. From anti-Semitic attacks to Islamophobic rhetoric, the forces of division are growing louder and more dangerous by the day. Yes, as people of conscience, we must not lose hope or surrender to despair. Now more than ever, we are called to remain focused on unity, not division, on love, not hate. We must be the light that pushes back against the darkness. This means standing in active solidarity with all marginalized communities. It means speaking out when we witness bigotry, whether against our Jewish neighbors, our Muslim brothers and sisters, or any group targeted simply for who they are. In a world that often tries to divide us, let us be a force of unity. Let us challenge anti-Semitism, confront Islamophobia, and replace fear with understanding. We are called to support one another, to build bridges of understanding, and to live together in peace and harmony. Our diversity is not a threat, it is a strength. Our shared humanity is greater than any force that seeks to tear us apart. Silence in the face of anti-Semitism or Islamophobia is complicity. We must speak out whenever and wherever we see hate. Whether it's in a synagogue or a mosque under threat, we show up for each other. Solidarity is our greatest weapon. Thank you.
My name is Bill Danaher. I'm the rector of Christ Church Cranbrook, right down the road from Temple Israel. I am grateful today for the wonderful law enforcement that has been done in the leadership of Sheriff Bouchard. I'm deeply grateful for my brothers and sisters in the Jewish community. We are here to stand with them and to support them with love and fidelity for all that they are and all who they are. I am going to invite Christians as we move into Holy Week and Easter to engage in a self-audit of our scriptures, of our passages that we rely on to tell the story of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection, of the practices that we've put in place for generations, to do an audit to make sure that we can cleanse the Christian tradition from anti-Semitism. It has constantly been noted by many scholars over the centuries that there is a subterranean river of interpretation within the Christian faith that runs in an anti-Semitic direction. And as we celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, I want to invite Christians everywhere to engage in that careful audit of our basic beliefs. These beliefs, when they are rightly interpreted, see the world as a place where God is redeeming all things, sees the world, as broken and beautiful as it is, as a place of hope and faith and love, sees each person as made in the image of God. I invite Christians everywhere to engage in that careful self-audit so that we can stand and interrogate our own beliefs so that we can stand against this rising tide of anti-Semitism.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Geiger, and I'm the president of the Interfaith Leadership Council of Metropolitan Detroit. In just a few brief comments, we certainly endorse those things that have been said here today. I want to openly acknowledge and express appreciation for the tremendous support the Jewish community has given to the interfaith efforts of our overall community for many, many years. And without their support, we would not be here today as the Interfaith Leadership Council. And we're pleased to be here in behalf of their needs and support at this point. I want to also let you know that they have been particularly helpful when other communities have been attacked, including when my own community was attacked a few months ago. They have been very solicitous and supportive, and I call all the communities who are here gathered and represented to continue to show that same response as they have shown to others, and we're grateful to them for that. The Interfaith Leadership Council stands for bringing together people of common values, to understand those, to look beyond the differences in language, heritage, beliefs, to see the underlying values that actually connect us together as human beings. And we have ways of helping people to see that if they will come and work together with us, because it is seeing each other as individuals, as human beings, however you couch it, as brothers and sisters, however we think of the relationship that bears us together. Those are the things that connect us as individuals. And anti-Semitism flies defiantly in the face of the realities of who we are as people, as brothers, as sisters, as sons and daughters, as members of this community. And so we encourage all, as they have been, and those who may wish to be involved in this, to join with all of these here and with us to help that make that a reality. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes. How are the repairs going at Temple Israel? Is there an update on that? And how is the security guard doing?
Thankfully, all of our security guards are doing well. Danny himself is recuperating at home, and he will make a full recovery. Our building is currently under a restoration phase, and we are actively 24 hours a day doing the initial stages of restoration, and then we'll move to a rebuilding process. There's a lot of work to be done. As you probably know from the videos that were released, the sprinkler system after the initial event went off and was running for hours, so we have an enormous amount of water damage, smoke damage, but we are actively pursuing that work right now.
For you, how are you bringing comfort to parents? I know you said you guys will return and not let this stop you from just moving forward. How are you guys bringing comfort to parents?
First of all, we are so lucky. We have had an outpouring of offers from mental health counselors, mental health organizations around the world who are reaching out to us, and we are currently developing a plan for the long-term future, which is going to take care of our families, our students, all of our staff. In the immediate aftermath of the events last Thursday, we have established a robust program of mental health. Actually, right now, my team is actually with a mental health provider offering care at every level, from our staff to our parents to our families around the community, and we're going to continue to offer an ongoing mental health routine so that all of us can return to a sense of normal, a new normal.
What is the best way the community can help support you guys?
Our website, www.temple-israel.org, will soon have a volunteer program offering, so anybody looking to help out in future offerings to our community can go there. We also are beginning in the initial fundraising campaign for a rebuilding process, And if anybody just wants to reach out to our team, you can call us. Our number is still operational. Our address is still operational, so people can reach out to our team. And Cassie Cohn is our Director of Development. She'll lead you to both volunteer opportunities and fundraising.
This would be for either Sheriff Bouchard or whoever else wants to answer, but I know the Jewish Federation and some other members of the community were in D.C. Earlier this week advocating for more funding for security for all houses of worship or nonprofits. Have you had any conversations with any lawmakers about that, and what would you support when it comes to that?
100%. As you know, I've been head of government affairs for Major County Sheriffs of America for many, many years, and I've already been communicating with a number of lawmakers about things that we think would be important to think of going forward, funding, and also equipment. Every time we see something happen anywhere in the world, it informs us on maybe training gaps or equipmental gaps. We had those. We had a gap, air apparatus. We obviously sent over 60 police officers to the hospital with smoke inhalation. This is the second house of worship that's been attacked by fire. That's not lost on us. We can't wait for that fire to go out. We can't wait for fire to go in because they can't go in while it's still an active threat. So we have to be able to go in without having to come back out for a gasp of breath and then go back in. So, we're seeking some Scott Air Packs, so we plan to deploy them in a variety of our equipment and vehicles so we can quickly hand them out. Some of the officers did borrow them. In that one video that did get released, you saw what looked like firefighter coats and Scott Air Packs. Those were police officers who got it from their brothers and sisters in the fire service that gave it to them to go into the building. But we don't want to take it from them because they may need it after we go from hot to warm zone. So that's just one example. There's other things that we've been communicating with. I've actually reached out with my government affairs staff and asked to have a Zoom call in the very near future with our 2 U.S. senators, Peters and Slotkin, and also with Representative McClain, one of the House leaders, so that we get Republican and Democrats on the same phone call and maybe get some support for some immediate equipment. There was some equipment that we could have used there. We know that Haley Stevens has put in a request to get a mobile command center. We thankfully, the Chaldean community jumped in, threw open their facility at Shenandoah. They did an amazing, not just open their hearts but their buildings. But, that again showed us that we didn't have a mobile command scene on site that could handle all of us having those immediate needs communicating together in a facility built for that has both cellular and satellite, that can get downlinks and all those kinds of things. Our mobile command is 26 years old. So, we found ourselves in the parking lot in Troy when they had an active shooter threat, standing in the parking lot, trying to, come up with immediate action. So there's equipmental needs that need to be met, and we will partner with not only the Jewish community but all communities to make sure that we are better prepared. Every time we face something, we figure out what did we do right, what do we need to do better. And just like a football team, you can always do better. And that's our hope with both training and equipment and deeper partnerships that we get there. And the unique thing about Oakland County is in this very room, I called all the chiefs together after an attack in Mumbai and said we need to train together and have more equipment together. And we did that in this room and created an organization called OCTAC that regularly trains all of the police officers, and now we brought in our fire service partners so that we can do that training. That's unique to this county. As I said, I've been president of Major County Sheriffs of America. We have a deeper relationship and partnership with state, local, and federal than I've seen almost anywhere, and that's going to continue. Long answer to your question, but I think it's multi-layered. When you have an event, you have to analyze it.
Mel Greer with the Jewish News. I have a question about some practical suggestions for saying something. I was on a neighborhood forum next door, and people were talking about it, and one of the comments was the cops must really love Israel because they sent so many people there. And somebody quoted how many officers were sent to Oxford. It was almost the the same, but how, I mean, that's just one insidious example of it, but how, because I know people are afraid to stand up because some of these people are dangerous, obviously, So can you give some practical suggestions for what the community can do when they read things like this, hear statements?
When they read things like that, it's hard, but keep going. Don't read comments. People get in their basement, they get empowered, they're trolls. They say terrible things because that's the state of our world today. Social media is terrible. When you have people empowered to say things about situations they know nothing about, we didn't know how many assailants we were. We didn't know if there's secondary threats that were going to happen at that facility. We had no scope or scale of what we were going to be facing collectively. When everybody showed up at Oxford, which also was here, I was super glad that everybody came. I'd rather be saying, okay, we're all set, you can go back to what you were doing, than say, we still need help and we can't do what we need to do. I mean, which would you rather have as a community? Us to be over-prepared or under-prepared? If it's your house and your kids are trapped in that and somebody wants to kill them, would you rather have us send too many or too little? Simple answer, but don't engage as a person with them, because you can't engage stupid.
So if, say you're in person in a group and somebody says something like that, what? I mean, if we all are supposed to stand up, what?
Well, the answer is, would you rather have over-response or under-response? Would you rather see people die because they don't have enough resources on scene and wait for others to get there? Or would you rather have them get there and say, we got enough, and send them back? I mean, it's a simple thing. And the same person is probably buying way too much homeowners or renters insurance and car insurance, not anticipating that their house is going to burn down, but they're prepared for it. So we need to be prepared for whatever we may face. And sometimes we don't know what that will be. We try to look around the corner and see what the threat may do or how it may adapt, and we have to adapt and evolve to be able to meet it. After the Virginia Tech shooting, I ordered bolt cutters put in our cars because that attacker had chain doors. So we try to look around the corner, and we try to come prepared with as much and more than we need. We can always scale back. And if people don't like feeling that safety net, they can move to a less safe county.
Okay, one other question. I read from the ADL that more than half of the anti-Semitic, assaults, threats, whatever, had to do with Israel. So I don't know if maybe Rabbi Bennett can speak to that, but...
Well, I guess in the general sense, there's no justification for trying to kill kids. So I don't know, whether you blame it on something that's going on someplace in the world or not. I'm sorry. No, that's not acceptable. You don't go into somebody's house, or in this case a house of worship, and try to kill kids from 0 to 5 because something happened in another part of the world. You can't justify that crap to me, period. Sorry. But...
Amen.
Yeah. Yes.
Sheriff, the Director of National Intelligence yesterday, Tulsi Gabbard, testified to the Senate that a family member of the Temple Israel attacker was a Hezbollah leader. Are you able to confirm that? That was the first time the federal official had said openly on the record that there was a tie to a Hezbollah leader. Are you able to confirm that?
Well, we had a lot of that information on the day that this was happening, but obviously, the federal officials are making the confirmation of some of the specificity as it relates to the individual or their family. So I don't really want to step on their toes on that, but obviously a lot of that's out there and pretty obvious.
Quick follow-up. Fox News had...
And I would also say on that point, just so you know, the ambassador from Lebanon sent me a communication immediately deploring this attack. Period. Hard stop.
And then the second question, Fox News had released a photo of the suspect. It showed him with a long rifle, and they said that rifle was used in the attack, and that he also had
Yeah, again, when we get into the evidentiary thing, we're going to leave that to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney because they have, again, very specific definitional boxes they check to whether this is a hate crime, whether it's terrorism, related to, was it motivated from abroad, whether communicate, all these kinds of things that they do. I think it was pretty obvious, but we'll leave the confirmation of some of that stuff to them because currently this case resides in their purview.
Just 1 week after this, how do people of both the Jewish and Islamic faith, especially those who consider each other neighbors, come together, have these conversations with each other to try to start healing?
Well, I think, everybody has to have that conversation. You can't hate in the name of God, and you can't kill in the name of God, regardless of your faith. And that's happened throughout history with all faiths, but that doesn't work. That's not the way God works. So any hateful, violent act is a perversion of a religion that perpetrates that in the name of their God, because God would not want to be murdering children. Sorry.